Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. We are going to be watching the last interview of James Holmes. And we will, start it off by recapping the first one like normal. One second, I'm pulling everything up real quick to make sure it's all ready. We are 5 interviews in, and more than 20 hours of psychiatric evaluation has been done. Tonight, we reach the final chapter. Dr. Reid has spent years studying James Holmes, challenging his explanations, testing his beliefs, and trying to answer one question. Was James Holmes legally insane, or did he know exactly what he was doing? Tonight, we hear the final interview and examine conclusions that helped shape the outcome of one of America's most infamous criminal trials. To break down the last episode that we watched, the interview feels very different from the earlier ones. Instead of focusing heavily on the shooting itself, Dr. Reid spends much of the session examining Holmes' life in jail, his writings, and whether his beliefs were truly delusions or ideas he consciously developed. They talked about his life in jail. The interview opens with Holmes discussing daily jail routine, interactions with other inmates, reading and writing, limited social relationships. One of the things that stands out is how isolated he remained even after incarceration. He often describes himself as an outsider long before the shooting and continuing afterward. They went into his philosophical writings. A large portion focuses on the notebooks and essays Holmes wrote. Reid reviews Holmes' personal theories and writings about human behavior, society, destruction, value of life, his view of humanity. Reid repeatedly presses him on whether these were beliefs he genuinely thought or intellectual exercises he created himself. This distinction is critical because legal insanity requires more than unusual ideas. They went into his hatred of humanity. One of the darker themes is Holmes discussing his growing resentment towards people in society. Topics include feeling disconnected from others, feeling different throughout life, viewing himself as separate from society, thoughts about mankind in general. This conversation helps explain how isolated thinking developed over years rather than appearing suddenly. They got into him feeling watched. Reid revisits Holmes' reports of paranoia, feeling observed, seeing shadows or flickers. A key issue is whether these experiences were signs of psychosis or something less severe. Reid ultimately concluded Holmes was mentally ill but did not have the kind of psychotic delusions that would make him legally insane. Reid continues examining Holmes' references to the mission. The focus becomes why he viewed the attack as a mission, how long he thought about it, whether he believed it served a purpose, whether he knew it was wrong. Again, Reid keeps steering the discussion back to intent and awareness. If you had to summarize this entire interview in one sentence, Dr. Reid is testing whether Holmes' bizarre beliefs controlled him or whether Holmes consciously chose to follow those beliefs despite knowing they were wrong. And now we will be watching interview number 5. Sorry. Let me screen share for you. The following is one of 5 interviews conducted by a psychiatrist with James Holmes 2 years after the mass shooting at Century 16 Movie Theater in Aurora, Colorado, during a midnight screening of the film The Dark Knight Rises. Details of the interview will be I will actually link the channel and this video in the description like normal. Here we go.
Okay, I think we're running. Remember everything? There's a video camera there being taped. I work for the judge.
Yep.
Don't work for either side, but the two sides may see the video, the report, things like that, right?
Okay.
Okay. How was it last night? Did you sleep okay?
Yeah.
Reasonable dinner?
Tacos.
Taco. Yeah. Is there a regular menu rotation so you can kind of?
No, they don't give us a menu, and it's usually different.
So it's not like Friday is pork chop day or something.
Right.
Like that.
They don't have Italian night or whatever.
Okay. Any thoughts about the things we talked about yesterday?
Nope.
Things that I may have missed or misunderstood or that you wanted to add about yesterday?
No.
Today, I suspect that we will work long enough so that we don't take a lunch break.
Okay.
It's not going to go 6 or 7 hours the way Dr. Gerd did, but I suspect we'll go for 3 hours or so. We'll take a break to change the media in the camera, and then maybe go another hour or so, and that'll probably be it.
All right.
Okay. Looks like you had a shower this morning.
Yep. Shower.
I'd like to go over some things that I've kind of marked in the notes of our previous talk up at SimHib and a couple of other things. Is kind of jump around a little bit. Let's see what I have here. You said you may not have said it directly to him, but Dr. Metzner has noted some things about what you described as trying to physically and mentally differentiate yourself from your normal self. Does that ring a bell at all?
I think when he asked about the photos, I said I was trying to differentiate myself from my normal.
Okay, and the dyed hair, that makes sense based on what I have here. You apparently used the phrase that you were making sure that you were distinct, quote, from my crazy self. Can you tell me what the context of that is in terms of the photos and the dyed hair?
I'm not sure the context.
Okay. You were talking about protecting your normal self because, quote, the other me did everything. He said this protection worked because I can blame it on the possessed James.
Right. So the contact lenses I had were called possession lenses.
That was their brand name or their model name, wasn't it?
Just their characterization.
A characterization of it. Was that like in the way you would order them? They are possession lenses,
Yeah, they
or is
call
that a
them,
phrase that you give to?
No, they call them possession lenses.
Gotcha. How about the phrase "I can blame it"? And I think we're referring to the killings. I can blame it on the possessed James.
Right. So I can transfer the blame to this kind of crazy self of me.
Okay. And I think you're referring to the way that you were thinking before the event, around the time you were creating the notebook and things like that. Is that your understanding too?
Yeah, it's
Okay. You haven't used the word very much with me, but you did with Dr. Messner, I think. No, you did with Gargi in some texts. The word evil. Where does it?
Right, I said it wasn't inherently evil.
Mhm. Where does your concept of evil fit in all this?
Um, well, killing people is considered evil.
Considered evil by
Everyone.
everyone, to include you, or not?
I'm not sure.
Think about it a little for me. You said everyone considers killing to be evil.
Right, sometimes it's a necessity, like in war.
Right. But I think we're referring to killings such as you were thinking about with Gargi, or such as you did. Are you part of the everyone that considers it evil?
No, I don't think so.
If everyone considers them evil, is there a reason that they shouldn't consider your act evil, even though you say that you don't consider it evil? That's not a very clear question. How much weight should we give to your simply saying, I don't think it was evil?
Um, that's up to the person to decide.
I'm sorry?
That's up to the person to decide.
Up to the person who's saying,
Who's
that what
saying
you-
that?
meaning it's up to you to decide whether it's evil or not.
No, it's up to whoever's trying to figure it out.
Okay. One of the things that you said to Gargi in the interaction, I think it was back in March, late March of 2012, was that what you feel like doing is evil. That is the act. What I feel like doing is evil, so can't do that. And you were referring to, in your words, kill people, of course. At that time, at least what you said to Gargi was what you were contemplating doing was evil.
It's considered evil by society.
Well, you said to her that it's not just considered evil, you said it is evil. And I'm wondering, there are a lot of reasons that you might have said that to her. Is that the way you felt about it when you said it, as far as you can remember?
I guess so.
And it was a long time ago, and it was in a particular context. I understand that. Yeah. You've referred several times to life in one way or another being meaningless, or not having meaning, saying that in one way or another in your writings and things like that. Is that fair to say?
Right, I couldn't find a meaning to life.
Okay. Do you still feel that way, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
When you were texting to Gargi, you said, if there's a meaning to life and you take that away from other people, you have prevented their purpose. So you're making it conditional if there's a meaning to life. But it sounds like, at least in that interchange, you're considering that there might be a meaning, and taking it away from other people prevents their purpose. Does that make sense, or
Yeah,
am I misunderstanding?
that makes sense.
Okay. You say a little further down that if you take away their purpose, quote, it still makes my life more meaningful.
Right, it's kind of back to that value system.
Okay. And okay, that helps because you haven't really clarified what the meaning might be, but one of the things, correct me if I'm wrong, is the value system, the human capital value
Right.
you talk. Okay. And you're kind of looking at me like a deer in headlights, and I don't know whether you're following or whether I'm being clear or not. Can you help me out with that?
Well, if they have a purpose, you kind of absorb that purpose when you kill them.
And do you think, sitting here today, do you think they have a purpose?
I don't know what the purpose is.
Do you think they have a purpose?
I'd say no.
As you were thinking about it 2 or 3 years ago, so far as you recall, at that time, did you think they had a purpose? Even if you didn't know what it was?
Could be. I don't remember though.
Fair enough. By the way, may I take your pulse once more?
Okay.
Thank you. Ooh, I'm sorry, I keep kicking you. That's the second time I've done that. Coming back to the word evil, you referred at least once with Dr. Metzner that you thought killing people at the time was evil because it was against the law. Do you remember that, or is that?
Yeah.
Is there any other context in which killing people might be evil except it's just against the law?
If the other person doesn't want to die.
And what would that have to do with it being evil?
Because you're going against somebody's wishes.
I can think of situations where one might go against somebody else's wishes and it wouldn't be evil.
Right. It's
I don't
on a case by
want to
case.
work, but my boss forces me to go to work. Okay. Go ahead.
It's on a case by case basis.
Talk to me about morally evil, killing people in the context that we're talking about today. Talk to me about morally evil.
What's there to talk about?
What comes to mind?
Something that's against the law. If you do it, then it's morally evil.
I'm sorry?
And if you do it, it's morally evil.
That's kind of circular, though. What you talked yesterday about your view of morals in one way, moral relativism.
Right.
That is, what's moral is what you think is moral, and what's immoral is what you think is immoral. Am I paraphrasing that?
Pretty much so.
Okay. I guess I'm going back to killing people in the way you did. Can you talk to me about it in a context of evil, or does that simply not apply?
No, because it wasn't malicious.
it's not malicious, then what was it? Some other adjectives besides malicious?
Um, I don't know.
I think you used the word necessary at some point. Does
Yeah,
that,
to complete the mission. Yeah.
it wasn't malicious, was it benign?
No, it was still harmful.
Harmful? Okay. Would you say it was indifferent to the morality of it, or
I didn't really consider the morality.
irrelevant to the morality of it? Or, okay. I don't want to interrupt you, but you did answer. You said you didn't consider the morality of it.
Right.
And do you have a feel for a reason that you didn't consider the morality of it?
Uh, it just wouldn't. It didn't matter morally.
Didn't matter morally. Okay. You spent lots of time preparing, lots of time thinking about it in one way or another. Does it make sense that other people might think about it in terms of morals or evil
Yeah.
or mattering or something? Okay. Would they be accurate in thinking about it in terms of morals or evil or in mattering, the lives mattering?
Um, it's all subjective in their opinion.
But from your viewpoint, it was simply not something that came to mind.
Right.
Okay. You did think about whether or not children would be killed, though. Did you think about that beforehand or just afterwards?
Um, beforehand, because I chose a time, and I guess it was PG-13.
So that was some level of consideration of what was right to do and what wasn't right to do in your mind, it sounds like.
I think it's wrong to kill children.
So you were considering at least one thing having to do with right or wrong, and that had to do with children, and you wanted to leave them out of the equation.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I may have asked you this some time ago. If you kill children, do you still get a point for that death?
Yeah, because their lives are valuable too.
Do you get any more for killing a child because of perhaps the increased potential or something like that?
Not by the system I do.
Okay. But you get the credit, if you will, for killing them. But they're the only group of people that you've mentioned so far, anyway, for which, in the balance of whether I get the point and whether they matter enough for you not to want to kill them. Is that fair to say?
Right. Yeah.
Is there any other group of folks that, in some way or other, matters, maybe with regard to right and wrong or your moral thought, matters enough that you would not or do not want to kill them to get their point?
No.
Any particular cutoff for when the child becomes grown up enough to kill?
I'd say 12.
12, okay. Were you thinking like that, do you think, 2.5 years ago, or is that something that you kind of thinking about right now?
It was kind of after the fact.
You mentioned to Hillary at some point that you were bad news bears. She should stay away from.
Yeah, I wanted to protect her.
I know it's sort of an off-the-cuff phrase, but what does it mean that you thought of yourself as bad news bears, or were you just kind of saying that as a matter of conversation?
It doesn't really mean anything. I think it was a movie or something.
Sure. I guess what I'm getting at is, did you think of yourself as bad?
I thought other people would view me as bad.
Did you think of yourself as bad?
No.
As I say, it sounds kind of like an off-the-cuff remark and not a deep philosophical thought.
Right.
Okay. Here's something I asked about a little earlier, actually. The pictures that the people sent you, almost all women, sent you that some of which you put up on your cell in the square.
Right.
I think you mentioned to me that they sent those pictures because they were supportive of you.
Yeah.
Any other reason that they sent you those pictures that you can think of, or that you thought of a couple of years ago?
Well, if they like me or not.
How did they know about you?
Through media coverage, I think.
Through media coverage. Do you think any of them were responding to your internet dating, the adult friend finder?
Yeah, I think so. That was also one of the reasons.
Tell me how many, all of them, or a few of them, or maybe one or two, knew about you from there.
At least a couple, because some said they were on Match, and that they had like a match with me or whatever.
So some specifically mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how long, and you may not know this, how long your profile stayed up on those sites or on Adult Friend Finder?
I know they took them down. I don't know when. Maybe it was up a week. A week since this year. It was up for a while beforehand too.
The one that was up beforehand, it would have been an email sent to your mailbox at the service, rather than something posted to the jail. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't remember getting any emails.
How many of those services did you try or did you join?
Match.com and Adult Friend Finder.
There was an indication that you canceled your subscription, but it may not have been to Adult Friend Finder. You canceled at least one of your internet subscriptions that had to do with women. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think it was XXXmatch.com.
Okay. So that was another kind of match deal that was a little more.
Another dating site. Yeah.
Was it a little more sexually oriented? The XXX in it, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you get any responses from that? XXXmatch.com?
Yeah, but I think they were fake from the employers to try and get you to buy more services.
How did they do that?
Well, they just post a fake profile and then contact you. Say, hey, let's hang out for whatever.
Did the stuff that they would send get pretty explicit, or would it be, hey, let's go have coffee?
No, I wanted it too raunchy.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't too raunchy.
Okay. You said to Dr. Messner at some point that one of the things you couldn't talk to Dr. Fenton about was that you were buying weapons and that you thought you were crazy because killing people is crazy. Do you remember that general?
Yeah.
And that I wanted to be locked up.
Right. Part of me didn't want to do the mission.
I think we talked about that a fair amount, about what part of you wanted to be stopped or controlled or locked up. What part of you didn't.
Right. Yeah.
I asked yesterday a little bit, and I'll just kind of recap it. We've generally described those as two parts of the same person, kind of wrestling inside, and not as two separate people.
Right. It was still one me.
And you were aware of both those parts of you.
Yeah.
Or no?
I think so.
Okay. Excuse me. We've talked a fair amount about your thoughts that one of the reasons that you had to carry out the mission was so that you wouldn't commit suicide, to save your life, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. Or at least to help with the depression.
Right.
But suicide figured in there, the potential for suicide and preventing you from being that depressed. Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Tell me about the concept of trading other people's lives for yours.
Um, I'm not sure what you mean.
In order for you, or according to what you said, in order for you to have a likelihood of not committing suicide,
Sure.
then you were willing to kill multiple other people to get that chance. That's what I mean by trading other people's lives for yours.
Yeah, it's part of what I did.
I'm sorry?
It's part of what I did.
Okay. Tell me about the rightness or wrongness or morality or logic of that. I guess I'm thinking about moral logic, whatever that means to you.
Uh, just that it was necessary to do what was in my best interest.
If it's in my best interest to kill people in order to have a chance at feeling better, not a guarantee, but a chance, does that seem okay or not? Or where does that fit in the moral scheme of things?
Well, it's against the law.
Okay, we talked about being against the law. You're pretty aware of that. But I'm really talking a little deeper than that.
I guess it would be selfish if you did that.
Selfish is one word. Anything. Actually, it seems real selfish too.
Yeah, real.
It almost sounds, and I'm not saying that it's the same, but like I want a thrill, and killing you will give me a thrill, so it's okay to kill you in my mind. I know you didn't kill for the thrill of it.
Yeah.
At least I don't think you killed for the thrill of it.
No.
But it sounds like there's something I want, and it's okay for me to kill you because I want it.
I'd say it's something I need
Okay.
as opposed to want.
Prior to the killings, you've not given me any indication that prior to the killings, you ever considered killing other people just because you needed something they had, except for this, the planning for this event. You've not struck me as that selfish, except in this instance.
Okay.
Does that make sense, or that's kind of a vague statement, I guess?
No, it seems to make sense.
At another point, one of the notes I have at the margin of that is question mark, trade other people's lives for his. At the time, did that sound like a reasonable trade?
Yes.
Does it still sound like a reasonable trade?
Yeah.
To take that a step further, if I may. You've indicated to various folks that you thought there was a maybe 50-50 chance that killing the other people, would make you feel better, would alleviate your depression. Maybe a 50-50 chance. Did you feel like it was, or is it okay to kill other people for a 50-50 chance at feeling better?
There's no other option.
What other options might there have been?
If therapy worked.
Sorry?
If therapy worked.
Okay. Was the therapy working?
No.
You said several times that you did feel less anxious.
It wasn't working in regards to the depression.
How many times had you gone to the psychiatrist about it?
Oh, 5 to 10 times, I think.
Think you gave it a fair chance?
There was kind of a misunderstanding that they didn't know I was depressed, but I thought they knew I was depressed.
Did you tell them that you were depressed?
No, what happened was I got the sertraline and I looked it up online and saw that it was for depression. So I thought they were treating me for depression.
To be fair, you weren't telling them everything.
Yeah, I held back.
Yeah. You hoped that the treatment with Finn would give you an alternative. Is that fair to say? I think that's kind of what you just said.
Yeah.
Why would it have been helpful to have an alternative? Here's what I'm thinking as I ask that. if there's not much that's morally wrong with killing other people for this purpose, to make yourself feel better, or to bring yourself more value, why would you bother to hope that Fenton might be able to change that?
Because if she could cure me, then I wouldn't need to be isolated in jail. In prison.
You've jumped from the need or wish to kill people to isolation in jail. That's taking my thoughts to isolation in jail, the wish to be isolated in jail, being a reason for killing.
He has to be isolated.
I'm sorry?
To be isolated, not necessarily in jail.
But as we've said, I think many times, the very predictable end result, consequence of this train of plans
Is
of the
being
mission
incarcerated.
is being incarcerated, either being dead or being incarcerated.
Right.
As you said, the chances of simply escaping were very minuscule.
Right.
Okay. Let me shift gears again. I want to talk with you about the phrase dysphoric mania again. Dysphoric mania. I don't think you ever brought that up with Dr. Finn. I don't see it in the notes. I don't recall seeing it in the notes. But you described that as one of the things that you're pretty sure was present
Right.
during that period for a long time. Tell me again what dysphoric mania was to you, what it felt.
Well, that goes back to the feelings of hyperspeed and invincibility. It was like the manic symptoms. But all the while I was still depressed, so it was dysphoric instead of euphoric.
About how long was it that you had those periods of what you're referring to as the dysphoric mania? I understand they came and went. Sometimes, I think you said 2, 3, 4 times a week. Do I remember that right?
It sounds right.
Over what period of time did you have those episodes?
I think until I started antidepressants or anxiolytic, and then it was only depression and not mania anymore.
Let me see if I understand you right. It started with the prescribing of the antidepressants and the anxiolytic?
No, it ended.
Ended with it. Okay, so that's about where it ended. And roughly when did it start?
No, actually, it started at the headband to the anxiety. I think the medication caused me to go manic sometime.
You think the medication caused you to go manic? Or in a dysphoric way?
Yeah.
And I recall you're saying that it stayed roughly the same for a period. When did it end, if it did?
Well, I don't think I'm manic anymore, but I'm not sure what time it ended.
Okay. Did it continue until the shootings, at least?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Any questions about the stuff we just talked about, or any expansion of those?
No.
I'm reminded that the pretty much everything you talked about with Dr. Fenton, that you recall talking about the mission, has to do with helping you to not be depressed or suicidal, and bringing the value in other people to you, which also would help you to feel better.
Right.
There's little or no mention of the hatred of mankind business that we've talked about a bit, unless I ask for it, unless I specifically ask about it. Everything in the record for several months up to the shootings refers to a benefit to you in terms of not being depressed anymore, not being suicidal anymore, and or having the value of the people that you killed.
Right. I think I was manic when I wrote the hatred part.
You have talked to several people about the hatred part at other times in your life. That's what you're talking about when you wrote the hatred part in your notebook.
No, I didn't generally share it. I think I said it to Ben once.
Okay. I think you're right. I'd like to go now through some questions I had about the time we spent together at Simca. And again, it'll skip around quite a lot. We've talked a lot about your relationship with your family, about your family supporting you while you're here. At one point, you said that one reason that you'd like to stay alive is because it would hurt your family if you were dead.
Yeah.
Are there times when you get kind of emotional thinking about your family? Mother, dad, sister?
No, not really.
Not even when you're by yourself in the cell or at night?
No.
I think you mentioned that occasionally you get a tear in your eye. I've not seen you come close to tears. It's not always unusual, but we've talked about some very emotional subjects sometimes. Have you
I
seen
think closer to the incident, I was more emotional.
about the incident or about other things?
No, not about the incident. Just closer to the incident, I was more emotional towards my family, that they cared about me and stuff.
When you say close to the incident, do you mean close after the incident?
Yes, after.
Okay. What do you make of it not being, the closeness not being so emotional now?
Was kind of accepted the way things are.
I think I asked you yesterday how much you looked forward to hearing from your folks, your mom and your dad. Let me ask you again, if I may. How much do you look forward to it, think about it, versus, oh, a letter appeared and my lawyers gave it to me?
No, I'm happy when they send me letters.
Do you think about their sending you letters before you get the letter? That is, look forward to it?
Yeah.
If they miss a week, or if the letter is a bit late, does that trouble you?
No, it's kind of an erratic schedule because they don't. My lawyers don't bring them every week. They might bring 2 or 3 on a certain day.
We know that Chris doesn't write to you. Would you like for her to write to you? Would you prefer it or not?
Well, my mom usually writes what my sister's up to anyway.
Would you like for Chris to write to you? Would you prefer it or not?
Doesn't matter if she writes it.
That sort of sounds like she doesn't matter. How she thinks about me doesn't matter. Whether I'm in her mind doesn't matter. Whether I'm in her thoughts doesn't matter. Is that close or not close?
Not the.
Can you talk to me about how that's not close? Because you use the phrase, it doesn't matter whether she writes or
Right, because you know she loves you anyway.
not. Okay. And you've said that before. You've told me that before. Okay. If I know someone loves me, whether they write to me or not, I still might like to hear from them, prefer to hear from them versus not hear from them.
Right, if I had a choice, I would want to hear from her.
With the choice you want. Okay. Did your family take many pictures or videos when you guys went places like the trip to Lake Tahoe, things like that?
I'm not sure. I wasn't the one taking the pictures.
Well, that raises an interesting thing because I hadn't asked your folks for photos like that. That's what I was referring to, but you raised another point. Did you ever take pictures of stuff on your phone? I know you took some because we've seen the contents of your phone. How much did you want to remember events with friends or family?
I didn't take that many. Maybe 10.
Do you think about those events now? Do you enjoy remembering them, or is it not particularly important to you?
I don't know.
Think about it. Do you think about those times? Are they important to you or not important to you at this point?
We're talking about family vacations.
Times, good times with family, good times with friends.
Yeah, the pictures aren't important. It's what they represent was important.
Do you think about what they represent very much? The good times with family, good times with friends.
It's a fond memory.
How much do those memories come up in your mind?
Maybe once a day.
And when they come up, how do they feel? How do you feel?
Reminiscent.
Can you expand on that a little? What do you mean? How do you feel when those fond memories come up?
That those were happy times in my life.
How else does it make you feel that those were happy times?
It also makes me remorseful that I won't have new fond memories with it.
So you anticipate not having, I think you said, any new fond memories?
Oh yes.
Sounds a little sad. Sounds very sad, actually.
Yeah.
Might you tear up a little when you're by yourself? Think about that, those fond memories?
I used to, not anymore.
You mentioned medication that you were prescribed in the anxiety medication. I saw a note where actually my assistant typed that you'd taken Xanax, and I don't recall you mentioning Xanax.
I don't recall you.
Okay, I think it was a typo on her part or mishearing something.
I took Zantac
Zantac, that's where she made this. Zantac.
for indigestion.
Gotcha. That explains it. Thank you. We talked a little bit at one point about the reason or reasons that you stopped shooting and left the theater. Can you reiterate for me a bit? Why did you stop?
I felt I shot enough people. And the other was the weapon jamming.
Those are the two things that I recall as well. The weapon jamming, and you couldn't unjam it easily.
Right.
And you felt that you'd shot enough people. Although you still had a handgun and many rounds
Right.
with you. Did you feel that you were in danger?
No.
Okay. So that wasn't part of the reason that you left at that point?
No.
Do you remember how you left, the process that you went through when you said, in one way or another, I'm going to leave now? What happened?
I just walked out the emergency exit door.
You walked. At some point, you were up the aisle toward the entrance
Right.
under one of the lines.
That's where I walked from.
Okay, so it's a fairly long walk
Not really.
down to the auditorium, give or take, or not.
It didn't seem very long.
Okay. You walked toward the exit. Walked fast, walked slowly. Give me some adjectives or adverbs about how you walked.
Just a normal walking pace.
As you walked, do you remember looking around?
Yeah, I looked back at the theater seats, and no one was sitting in them. They were all crouched down behind the seat.
As you walked out and looked around, did you think that someone might be dangerous to you, rushing you or shooting at you or anything like that? Or were you just
No.
moseying out of the theater?
I was just walking out of the theater.
I remember you mentioned looking back and there was a guy in the front row smiling.
Right, yeah.
Any other thoughts about his smiling?
I don't know why he was smiling.
Do you think he might have been grimacing rather than smiling?
No, I'm pretty positive it was a smile.
So you don't think he was grimacing because he was hurt?
No, he wasn't like holding his leg or arm or anything. that would suggest that.
Was he sitting in the seat or crouching or hunkering down behind it?
He was sitting in front of his seat
So he was quite exposed.
because he was in the front row too.
Do you recall whether he was sitting on his seat or
He
sitting
wasn't on the seat. No, nobody was on their seat at the end.
Do you understand that he was on the floor in front of his seat?
Right.
Can you describe how he was sitting?
Um, just with his legs to the side, kind of leaning against the seat.
What makes you think that he wasn't wounded?
Um, he wasn't. Didn't look like he was in pain at all.
But he was pretty exposed.
Right. Yeah.
Did you think about shooting him?
No.
What do you make of that?
That probably would have been really personal to shoot a person who's smiling at you.
So from the time you started walking, did you fire at all on your way out? Did you have your handgun out, or
I had the assault rifle and I was trying to put a magazine in it.
was the handgun in your hand as you walked? Do you remember?
No, it was in my belt.
In your belt? Um, as you walked out, thinking down the aisle, there's kind of a curtain that creates the exit aisle. Am I right?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean.
As you go behind the screen,
I never went behind the screen. There's a space behind the screen.
Right.
They thought somebody might be hiding there, so they cut it down.
Okay. But the door, the exit door, is in the same plane as the screen or behind the plane of the screen?
Behind a bit.
Okay. And that's kind of what I meant. Was there some sort of...
There wasn't like an obstacle.
Okay. Did you see anybody in front of you as you walked out?
No.
But I think you said you observed some people going out that way
Yeah, like
earlier.
4 people carrying one guy.
Any idea what happened to that guy or to those 4 people?
No, there were so many.
I'm sorry?
There were so many injured. I don't know. Like,
Did you notice the blood outside the door as you left?
yeah, there were blood smears.
Did you think anything about that blood or what it might have been due to?
Well, the guy they carried out got shot.
Did that raise any thoughts about what happened to him? What was going to happen?
I thought he would be taken for medical assistance.
Then when you got outside, as I understand it, at some point fairly soon, you saw 2 officers facing away from. They looked at you, and then they walked away from you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And why do you think they walked away from you?
Because I think they thought I was SWAT or a policeman.
Okay, that's my understanding too. And they're walking away. You have the handgun.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you thought about shooting them but did not shoot them. Or is that not quite right?
No, that's pretty accurate.
Tell me about the reasoning at that point in which you didn't shoot it.
Well, I considered the mission over. So by that point,
Did you consider that it might be dangerous to shoot at them?
yeah, I also didn't want to get shot back.
So But one of the factors was you considered the mission over.
Right.
How did it feel to consider the mission over? You remember the feeling, the visceral feeling, anything like that?
Relief.
Tell me more about that.
When I was finally done doing the shooting.
You used to phrase it in another context that you had accomplished your mission. Was that a feeling at that time, or did that come later?
Uh, I'm not sure.
At what point did you take the handgun out and put it on top of the car?
Once I saw the backs of the two police officers.
Okay. Just to clarify my own thoughts and not overthink something. You took the handgun out, put it on top of the car. Was there a point at which you thought about shooting them and decided not to? Or did you never, as far as you recall, think about shooting them?
Well, I figured if they shot at me, then I would have easy access to the handgun to shoot them back. But otherwise, I didn't think about shooting them.
Okay. You talked about having some trouble studying, trouble focusing on your studies in January, February of 2012. And when we talked, you attributed that to being depressed. Do you recall that conversation or that thought?
No, not really.
What I was asking myself was, might your difficulty focusing on the studies in January, February have had to do with your mononucleosis?
It could have. I was pretty sick.
How long were you pretty sick with that?
2-3 months.
2 or 3 months. And over that 2 or 3 months, that would be January, February, March, or
December, January.
December, January, February. When you say pretty sick, can you describe again for me how you were sick?
Fatigued, coughing, and having a sore throat.
Were there very many days when you couldn't go or didn't go to class or lab?
No, I went to every class and every lab.
Every class and every lab. I'd like to talk just a little bit more about the thoughts that you were under surveillance when you were planning things and ordering weapons and going to Byers Canyon, etc. You used the phrase, or one reason that you thought you were under surveillance was that you were going to commit a crime.
Right. I think if you're doing something illegal, you probably become more aware of police around you.
At the time, not as you think about it now, with perhaps a bit clearer head, at the time, do you think you were just hypersensitized because you were planning a crime, to use your words? Or do you think you were,
I think there was some paranoia.
and tell me what you mean by paranoia?
Um, Imagining people were after me when they weren't.
Imagining means to me sort of a thought about something. somewhere out on maybe the same spectrum, there's the deep, true belief that they're after you or watching you. Can you pinpoint a little bit for me on that spectrum where you were with that back in?
A little bit more moderate than deep-seated.
I'm sorry?
Than deep-seated.
A little more moderate than deep-seated. Did you do anything to combat the possibility of surveillance?
I closed all the blinds in my apartment.
Anything else?
No,
Did you keep the blinds closed all the time or close them some of the time?
all the time.
And by closed, the blinds are down and the slats are
So nobody can see it.
okay. When, for example, did you do the dark tinting on your car windows?
Well, I bought the stuff before I bought the window tinting before I installed it, like a week or so before.
And was did the idea have to do with preparation for the mission, or did you just like tinted windows?
It was in case anybody walked out in back of the theater, so they wouldn't see.
So it was specifically about the mission itself, not about what you might have been carrying in the back seat in the weeks before the mission.
Right, I didn't install the window tint until like just before the mission.
Okay. Any other things that you did that were to combat the idea of surveillance?
No,
I think you mentioned that in your web searches, your online purchases and things, you used your real name, your real credit card. You didn't use a proxy server. Is that right?
right.
You know what I mean by proxy server?
Just another server that kind of would mask the server I was using.
Yeah. A way to mask your identity on the web. Did you ever see around your building, for example, cars that you thought might be there to observe you, or FBI or law enforcement?
I saw law enforcement, but there's a bar like right across the street.
Did there ever come a time when you were pretty sure that the car was there for you and not for the bar?
Once or twice, but it was an unmarked vehicle. Just like,
When you say an unmarked vehicle,
yeah, it wasn't your typical cruiser. It was like all black.
kind of Crown Victoria with spotlights or something,
Some of
something
them,
that really looked like an unmarked vehicle, or something that you, looking back on it, may have imagined was an unmarked vehicle.
something that I imagined was.
Looking back, are you pretty sure it really was an unmarked vehicle or not?
I'm not sure anymore.
Okay. Where were those cars parked on those one or two occasions that you described?
Across the street.
Across the street. Relative to your apartment, would that be a good place to observe or not, or more logical to think of it as with the bar? Or
I think he was trying to get drunk drivers from the bar.
I probably asked this as well, but you use Byers Canyon as a place to practice,
Right.
and that's 2.5 hour drive.
Well, 2 hours at
2
Reid.
hours. Okay. Any particular reason that you wanted something that far away?
No, I went to it mainly because it was unsupervised.
Okay. And I remember you mentioning that. When you were firing the weapons, I've asked you before, and I'd like to ask you again, actually. What was the feeling when you first fired the weapons there, later on when you fired the weapons, how did it feel to shoot those weapons?
It felt routine.
Routine.
Yeah.
Even the first time.
Yeah, there wasn't any special emotion attached to it.
You fired lots and lots and lots of rounds.
Right.
I mean, really thousands of rounds.
Yeah.
Unless you were there for many, many hours, you probably fired, at least some of the time, very rapidly. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
As you're firing the rounds, what position were you in? What physical position were you in?
Standing up.
Always standing?
Well, I tried crouching a couple times just to mix it up.
Did you ever fire them while you were moving, while you were running or walking?
Yeah, I would move side to side and shoot at the target.
Do you recall making any noises when you did that?
No, I didn't make any.
Yelling or screaming or saying, take that, or
No, nothing.
gotcha, or anything like that?
No. Just a paper target. So.
You raise another interesting point. You were shooting at paper targets. They were body mass targets, I think, right? Life-size silhouettes or not?
They were close to life size.
When you did that, do you recall ever imagining that they weren't paper targets?
No, I strictly knew they were paper targets.
I need to take a quick break.
Okay.
I'm going to ask the gentleman to come in while I go to the restroom, if that's all right with you. Let's see if I can use this. Okay. Appreciate that break. Let me take your pulse once more, man. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Any questions about anything we talked about before that?
Nope.
Little break. Okay. Continuing then to kind of go through some of the things that I thought about after our last meeting. We've talked a bit about reasons, motivations for the shooting, and really for the whole process that happened before the shooting, the shooting itself. We talked about the clear expectation that one way or another you would be controlled when the shooting occurred, after the shooting occurred. And the likelihood that you'd be in a situation such as you are in. We've talked a little less about the idea of being remembered. I remember we looked at some photographs. We talked about your thoughts of posting something with the New York Times. Talk with me about, again, being remembered if you can.
Well, that's just what the photographs were for, is to be remembered.
Can you talk with me again about how you believe you'll be remembered?
There's not so much a for or how reason. It's just this is the photograph of me, and that is what will be the one that.
Going back to July of 2012, I remember you and I looking at the photograph, or the various photographs together, and you're talking about what they might mean and how people might interpret them as they remember you or simply interpret the photographs. What were some of the things that you remember came up in our discussion?
That it was devil-like.
Okay, one of them was kind of devil-like. Okay. What else?
That's the only one I remember.
I remember you're talking about being a dangerous person.
Right, it kind of portrayed a dangerous quality to it.
Tell me about being remembered as dangerous, particularly as you might have thought about it a couple of years ago.
Just that this isn't someone you want to mess with.
What does that bring to mind?
I'm not sure.
The first time you bought a gun, actually, your first purchase was a taser. Taser, no. You talked about defensive thoughts rather than offensive thoughts.
Yeah.
You're in a position, in a situation now that have, in another way, something to do with not wanting to be messed with. And we talked about fantasies that you might be killed.
Right, yeah.
But I'm really referring to back in June, July of 2012. What kind of a person doesn't get messed with?
Tough guy.
How does that fit with you?
Well, they were kind of frightening pictures.
How does that fit with you, Jimmy Holmes?
It's unusual because I'm not normally a tough guy.
Go ahead.
I don't know what else to say.
That usually doesn't get you off the hook with friends. I mean,
Yes.
we just remain silent until you say something. I may not do that to you here, but that you're not a tough guy.
Not normally a tough guy.
Not normally a tough guy. In what context or situation are you a tough guy?
In the context of the shooting.
You're a tough guy during the shooting.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the tough guy during the shooting.
Well, I'm all decked out in body armor and weapons, so it gives off a tough essence.
Good. Do you remember it feeling tough? Feeling like a tough guy?
No, not really.
Do you remember before the shootings it feeling like a tough guy or anticipating being a tough guy?
A little.
Tell me what you remember about that.
Just in taking the pictures. They look different from what I normally look like.
And different in the sense of,
having the hair dyed in the contact position lenses and
the regalia is real clear to me as real, in the room, tough guy stuff. The contacts, particularly with the name of the contacts, possession contact lenses, and to some extent the hair, says to me something different from solid, I can reach out and touch the tough. Does that make any sense?
a little.
What are the possession lenses, or what they represent, or what they felt like, better yet, what they felt like? What does that have to do with tough guy or not tough guy, or with something else?
I'm not sure.
What comes to mind?
Just that it would be frightening to whoever saw it.
Did anybody ever see you with the contacts on?
No, only through the photos.
Only through the phone. And it would be frightening to whoever saw it.
Yeah.
Frightening in what way?
In a frightening way.
Possession brings to mind, to me anyway, occult, mysterious. The armor, on the other hand, brings to mind physical, tough, can't get through it.
So yeah, the lenses are more psychological toughness.
Okay. Where does the hair fit in? Or was it just a fluke kind of, I'd like to dye my hair, I want to change things?
Yeah, I didn't really have a reason for dyeing my hair.
Looking back on it, when Ben dyed his hair, he says, I just wanted to change. He's dyed his hair many times, he said. Was that close to your concept of dyeing your hair, or was that quite different, so far as you can recall, from the reason that you dyed your hair?
Well, it certainly was a change because I never dyed my hair before.
Do you remember having anything in mind about dyeing it, or about the color itself?
Well, red suggests bravery.
Okay. Is the James Holmes of 2010, 2011, early 2012 a brave guy?
Yeah.
How were you at that time a brave guy?
Well, I was moving to a new state in a new area.
I'm sorry.
I was moving to a new state. And I was doing new things.
And that takes some courage.
Rather than just doing what you always do.
Was the James or the Jimmy Holmes of 2010, 2011, early 2012 a frightened guy, a scared guy?
No.
When Hillary's screen was cut, that was May, something like that. It was well after you had started to prepare these things, or no?
When Hillary screamed, what are you referring to?
Somebody tried to break into her place.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like they cut it with a knife.
Okay. I think I remember the time, the chronology of things.
That was before I bought the first handgun.
Okay. You had bought the taser and the knife, but not the handgun. Is that your memory?
I'm not sure when I bought the taser and taser knife.
But they were before the handgun, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did her being broken into, or attempted break-in, apparently attempted break-in, did that scare you with regard to your safety?
It motivated me to be more prepared, set up a defense.
When that occurred, once again, I'm trying to get the timeline straight in my mind. Was that around the time you guys, the short period in which you guys dated, hung out together? Or was that before you started hanging out together for a short time?
I don't remember the context in when I heard it.
Okay. But what you just said was you did feel like creating some sort of perimeter, some sort of doing something to make things more safe for yourself. Is that fair to say? Okay. Do you remember about the time that doing the defensive things began to morph into doing the offensive things, or were they completely separate?
Well, once I bought the shotgun, it was an offensive thing.
So you said once you bought the shotgun, how about before you bought the shotgun when you
It was still defensive.
decided to go get it?
Well, when I decided to go get it, it was an offensive
It
thing.
was going to be an offensive. We talked a bit at SimHip about some of the people in your family that passed away. Not very many folks have. I think both your grandfathers. Am I right?
And grandmothers.
Can you talk a little more about the death? For some reason, I have circled your mom's father who passed away when you were little, like that, correct?
Yeah.
You remember very much about interacting with him?
No. Not very. It was a little.
Doing up close to the eye. They don't generally interfere with seeing things far away. Let me give you an example, because you're a guy that has worn glasses, and I'm a guy that wears glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. When your glasses are a little dirty, somebody else may say, "Oh, your glasses are dirty," but you could still see pretty darn well through
I
your
could
glasses.
still see with the gas mask on.
Okay.
But because it was darker inside than outside, it's hard to focus.
You had the gas mask on before you went back in.
Right.
You could see to open the door, things like that, to get back in.
Yeah, so it was maybe a partial obstruction.
Okay. Fair enough. me come back for just a minute to the way you might have wanted to be remembered. I'm not talking so much about now, but the way you believe you wanted to be remembered at the time of the shootings or just before the shootings. Can you talk a little more about that?
I just wanted to be remembered visually by my picture.
Which picture?
Any of the ones that were on my phone.
One of the ones, or a couple of the ones, were headshots of you with a sort of, not sure how to interpret it, devilish or impish or whimsical look, looking at the incendiary with the fuse, holding the gun, things like that. Another one was of, I'm trying to remember, wasn't there one of you in most of the regalia? Or
Yeah, there was one where I was wearing the coat and the vest.
Okay. So which is the one that conveys, if it is just one, which is the one that conveys the way that James wanted to be remembered, the James before the shoot?
I think the most powerful image was the one where I was holding the gun in front of my feet.
Holding the gun in front of his face.
Yeah.
And that would convey to somebody 5 years from now what?
Just that they would remember the picture, and that was James Holmes.
That was James Holmes. And what was James Holmes? In that
They don't
picture?
need to remember like that. Or
I'm sorry?
they don't need to remember anything extra. Just have a memory of the face.
I'm not sure I understand. They don't need to remember anything extra.
Yeah, all they need to remember is that's what James Holmes looked like.
Looked like. So having people remember what you looked like, not forget your face in a sense. But there's a certain attitude to that picture.
Yeah.
Want them to remember that attitude as well.
They don't have to.
But I mean, that was the one you picked of the various pictures that had slightly different attitudes. All of them had some of the equipment in them. Forget your face in a sense. But there's a certain attitude to that picture.
Yeah.
Want them to remember that attitude as well.
They don't have to.
But I mean, that was the one you picked of the various pictures that had slightly different attitudes. All of them had some of the equipment in them.
I guess if they want to remember that attitude with it, they can.
You're not saying that they would remember the picture of you with the poster of the woman behind you.
I don't think that was as powerful an image as the other one to remember.
Not powerful. You're not saying they would remember the picture of you on the hike.
Right.
Because
It's not as strong an image. It's not something memorable.
that's something
It's not something as memorable as one that did that.
as venerable.
Oh, memorable.
Memorable, okay. And that's a strong guy in the picture. Are you a pretty strong guy?
Average.
At the time that you took the pictures, did you believe you were a pretty strong guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me spin out a couple of thoughts. One is, I'm a strong guy, and that's why I'm taking this picture of me as a strong guy. That I want people to remember me as a strong guy. Another line of thought would be, I'm not such a strong guy, but I can make them think I was a strong guy and make them remember me as a strong guy. If I
don't
take
think that
this
was
picture, I'm sorry,
I don't think that was
I don't think that was it. Why would they remember your face anyway?
because it's unusual to have dyed hair like that and contact lenses. You're more likely to remember something unusual than something mundane.
The elephant in the room, of course, is the shooting as the thing that they will remember and attach the picture to the shooting.
Right. So at least they have some memory of who I am.
Because I can't particularly think of a picture of a guy holding a gun 5 years ago unless I attach it to some other event that
To make it make sense.
makes me remember. Okay. Um, so my mind goes to, it was a strong guy that killed these people. The picture of the guy that killed these people indicates he was a strong guy.
It's not inaccurate.
Is it accurate?
Sure.
I mean, those are the words that seem to lead up to that. The words you've used seem to lead up to, here's the picture. The reason I remember him is that he's the fellow that killed the people in the theater. And the picture shows a strong guy. So James Holmes, the guy who killed the people in the theater, must have been a strong guy. Is that a train of thought that?
I'm not sure if strong is the word tied to it or not.
Okay. And again, there's a danger that I'm putting too much of my association into it. But the place that my mind goes with it is that people are not remembering James Holmes as a weak guy or a mediocre guy.
Right. Yeah, I would say that's true.
Is there anything wrong with them remembering you as a mediocre guy or a weak guy?
Just that it wouldn't be memorable.
Okay. Go through just a couple more pages here. I asked you what it felt like to be arrested. The officer's coming up and you surrendering.
Everything kind of went as expected.
Okay. You had a tough time getting to the feelings associated with being arrested. You talked about the process, but not the feelings associated with being arrested.
I don't think there were any strong feelings.
Do you remember any particular strong feeling during that process? Any particular feeling, visceral or mental or emotional?
Just when I got out of the elevator in the police station, there it said child homicide like section.
And we talked a bit about that, and were you surprised that a child had been killed?
Yeah. I didn't think there were going to be any children there.
Did you feel sure there weren't going to be any children?
Like 80% true.
You described child within the context of the folks that, in this context, you didn't mind killing as somebody under 12.
Right.
It's a PG-13 movie. Seems to me that there are an awful lot of kids under 12 at PG-13 movies.
Not at midnight.
Not at midnight. Okay. Good point. And we talked about, even had there been no children, the fact that the people who were killed were likely, some of them, to be parents of children.
Right, I never considered that until you brought it up.
Wasn't a consideration, that was not relevant or not considered, or an indifferent factor.
Okay, yeah.
The two guys who questioned you, Detective Gumbiner and Detective Apple, you remember those names or not?
I remember Detective Apple. Was Gumbiner with the FBI
He
bomb
was,
specialist.
he was part of it, and I'm not remembering exactly what his title was, but he was with the FBI.
Okay.
What did you think of the way that they talked with you or interrogated you?
It was pretty standard. It was kind of conversational.
Were you surprised at any of it or upset by any of it?
I was upset that they took a clandestine recording of the session without telling me.
The clan, meaning it was audio recorded or
Audio recording.
Was that the recording of when you were talking about, well, there was one point where they talked with you and then you invoked your Miranda rights.
Right, like right away.
There was another one where you were talking about the devices in your apartment.
That's the one I was talking about.
Okay. And it was, you were upset that they had recorded it.
Well, I'm upset now because I didn't know at the time that they were recording it.
Can you tell me more about being upset about that?
Just that I was helping them out and they were not looking in my best interest. They were doing it for their own personal reasons.
Okay. When they were interrogating you about the event, about the shooting, would you have expected that to be recorded?
Yes, they had and video recording.
Okay. What do you remember about their style of interviewing you or interrogating?
They would just ask me questions and I would answer them.
Were they pretty smart about it or dumb about it or?
All pretty standard. That's cool.
Do you think that their interview of you or interrogation of you was effective? Got what they were after?
Yeah.
Was it because they were good at it or because you were free with the information or both?
Because I cooperated.
Okay. You talked a little bit about your going to court. Once again, and you weren't sure, I think, the first time I asked this. Do you remember about when the first time you went to court was? About how many days after you were arrested or how many?
I don't remember. It was too long ago.
Okay. And at the time you said you didn't remember much about that event, about being in court.
Right.
We talked about Dr. Woodcock seeing you. We talked a couple of times about the money that was mailed with the notebook. The several $100s and $20 bills that were burned at the edges. At one time, you told me that you burned the money because you wouldn't have any use for it.
Right, once I got locked up or dead, I couldn't use any money.
But you burned it in a particular way.
So she would still be able to tell it was money.
And the communication to her was what with the money?
If I remember correctly, it was because I wouldn't have insurance and it costed like $80 an hour for each session.
So what were you telling her with the money?
That money was a problem.
You didn't just send her the money, you sent it to her with the four corners of every bill burned off and the bills carefully plastered onto sheets, as I recall.
No, actually, I just put it all on the back of the notebook. I think they might have done that in the sheets later.
Okay, so you didn't take them down to sheets or glue them to sheets.
No, they were just loosely leafed.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that because I wasn't sure about that. What did the burning the edges mean, if anything, as part of the communication to Dr. Fenn?
Just what I said before.
You could have just sent the money. I don't
Right,
understand.
but then she would have misinterpreted, like, why is he paying me money?
Do you think she would have considered it a payment to receive that?
I don't know what she would
I
have
mean, payment doesn't come to my mind, at least. The money means something. Psychiatrists always think money means lots of things.
Right.
But payment is not one of the ones I would have come up with. You burned the edges and sent her several $100s.
Right, I was trying to tell her that because I lost my job, I subsequently lost the insurance from it. So my illness was like at fault.
It sounds like you were mad at her. Almost saying, here, you greedy shrink. Here's the damn money.
Could be. I wasn't too angry though.
Explore that could be a little bit for me.
Well, it is kind of a mean thing to do to send her a notebook of all the information she didn't collect and burn the money, which is the reason why.
Was there anything in it of, look what you did, Fenton?
A little bit, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's kind of similar to like that emoticon I sent her when she messed up my prescription.
When you sent the emoticon, one of your impressions or one of your thoughts was that it might have frightened her.
Yeah, she misinterpreted it as me hitting her instead of it being a blow with the face that she couldn't remember my name.
I'd suggest to you the possibility that at least part of the emoticon was an angry thing. And it wasn't her it wouldn't be her misinterpreting, because part of the emoticon really had at least some irritation to it, because she inconvenienced you and she misunderstood you and didn't, this is just Reid talking, didn't value you enough to get the right name on the damn prescription.
Yeah, so it was a little bit hostile.
Hostile is a real civilized word. Angry, mad is a
It was a
little
little
bit.
bit mean.
Let me come back to the burned money. Any anger, meanness? Look what you did, or boy, you'll think about this for a long time, Fenton. In the money.
Yeah, I think it's analogous.
Can you talk to me about that emotion at the time?
Um, just that I was showing her what I was doing wrong, or showing her what she did wrong.
Tell me what you might have been showing her that she was doing wrong.
Uh, well, because of my illness, I could no longer go to the sessions because it was expensive.
Is that a truly good reason that you didn't go to the sessions, or is that not much of the reason that you didn't continue the sessions?
Well, the main reason was I was set on the mission. Kind of had an excuse to get out.
An excuse to get out of the sessions?
Yeah.
Because you actually knew at the time that there were a lot of ways that you could have continued the sessions, and
They'd offered.
had offered. Unlike the school, they had offered ways to continue the sessions. Is that accurate?
Yeah, for the summer.
I can't think of much else to ask you. What have I left out?
I have no idea. I think you've been pretty comprehensive.
Want to expand on anything that we've talked about?
Nope.
If there's anything that you want to communicate to me through your lawyers at any point, you're welcome to tell them, hey, tell this to Reid, and they will do that.
All right.
I suspect we won't talk again, at least not for some time. It's possible if I come back for a hearing or something that we would talk again. But I think I have everything that I need to do my task. Once again, I'll wish you what I wish everybody I see, and I hope whatever happens is fair.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
And that was the end of interview number 5. Wow. I mean, I feel like all of these interviews have just been, I don't know. In the final interview, Dr. Reid brought together the major themes from the previous sessions, right? Holmes' human capital theory, his views on morality, responsibility, family, legacy, and the shooting itself. Rather than introducing new information, the interview feels like a final examination of whether Holmes' beliefs were symptoms of severe mental illness or ideas he knowingly acted upon. By the end, Reid's opinion is clear. Holmes was mentally ill, but he still understood what he was doing and the consequences of his actions. The top points that they went over was possessed versus personal responsibility, whether Holmes believed he was evil, whether he felt possessed or compelled, whether the shooting was something he chose versus something he couldn't control. Human capital theory, Reid presses him on whether he truly believed the theory, whether it was symbolic or literal, whether it was what motivated the attack. Why spare the children? Holmes discusses not wanting to target children. According to trial testimony, Holmes stated he chose a PG-13 showing because he expected fewer children would be present and later expressed regret when he learned children had been harmed. This becomes important because Reid uses it to examine whether Holmes was making moral distinctions before the attack. The interview spends time discussing his parents, his sister, their reactions after the shooting, how he thinks they view him. There are moments where Holmes appears more reflective than in earlier interviews, particularly when discussing family and how he will be remembered. Being remembered, one of the more revealing portions concerns legacy. Holmes discusses public perception, his appearance, media attention, how history might remember him. Reid explores whether recognition or notoriety played any role in the attack. Holmes had previously discussed wanting to be remembered as a significant figure. Reid revisits the planning, the execution, what Holmes expected afterward, his feelings once it was over, a reoccurring theme that Holmes often describes events analytically rather than emotionally, something viewers frequently notice throughout all 5 interviews. Reid's ultimate question. By this point, Reid is essentially trying to answer one question. Did Holmes understand what he was doing and know it was wrong? Everything in the final interview circles back to that issue. Reid ultimately testified that Holmes suffered from mental illness but still knew right from wrong and could form intent. And that was all of the psychiatric interviews for James Holmes, the Aurora, Colorado theater shooter. We have spent quite some time on this case, and we will be circling back to Columbine after tonight. We will finish up Columbine, and I think we are going to start on Parkland, possibly. Or there was a church shooting that Mama was looking at that we might dig into next. I think the shooter was Dylan Roof. But we definitely have, I mean, there's an unlimited amount of cases that we could cover. I'll probably end up posting a poll like I did the last time, and we will, let majority rule. But I have enjoyed hanging out with you guys, and I hope you all have a great night. Please remember to, like, subscribe, do all the things. And remember, silence is complicity. Truth is action. We will see you guys next time. Bye.